Okay, so there's a significant news story this week that was dominating news was the imminent closure of Uluru. We used to call it Ayers Rock when we were little kids, and they've changed it to Uluru, more in keeping with the Aboriginal name for it, the traditional owners. And let's have a look at the clip because it's quite interesting how people have reacted to it and so forth. And I'll do some commentary as well because I've actually visited Uluru in 2014, 5 years ago. So I had a unique perspective, and I'll get into that after the clip. So let's have a look. Here we go.
Closed to climbers.
Over the past few months, thousands have flocked to the Red Centre to climb Uluru, and yesterday saw the last climbers descend. Today's Show reporter Gabrielle Boyle is at Uluru and witnessed the historic occasion. A very good morning to you, Gabby. Can you just describe those final moments as the last climbers came down from the rock?
Yeah, good morning, Ali. Good morning, David. Well, certainly it was a big day here at Uluru right from before sunrise. We were up from 2 a.m. to capture those first images of the sun rising on what was always going to be a very special day. Hundreds of people turned out to watch that sunrise from the dawn viewing platform here, and then many of them headed over to the rock to line up in that massive queue from 8 a.m.
So if you look here, you'll see this is where traditionally you climb the rock. I actually didn't climb the rock. I'll get into that later. But you'll see it's a lot steeper. It's a lot steeper than you realise as well. So this little bit here, I don't think my mouse actually shows on here, but just above that guy's head with the sort of we call it an akubra hat, but sort of like a western hat there. It's above those rocks on the left there that the actual handrail chain apparatus that they've put up there many years ago where that starts. So you've got to get up this little bit here, and I tell you what, it's very steep. And that was one of the reasons why I didn't climb. And also, they've got signs there explaining why the traditional owners don't want you to climb. Mainly, a lot of times they say it's to do with tradition, respect, and all that sort of thing. And also, the guy Uluru who was named after, although that's in debate as well, but he actually said that they're more worried about people hurting themselves, and I think there's something like 37 people, 37 fatalities, mainly due to, I think, heart attacks more than falling, but it's quite a strenuous climb. It's actually 300 odd metres tall. I think that's 370 something metres tall. It's very deceptive looking at this little freeze frame here, how tall Ayers Rock is, or Uluru is. So let's have a look more of the clip. I'll do some more comments as we go along.
Didn't open at 8 a.m. because the winds were too high and it was too dangerous to climb. So it wasn't till 10 a.m. that the first of those enthusiastic climbers were able to pull themselves up on those wire cables to the top of Uluru to take in those spectacular views over this beautiful sunburnt country. And throughout the day, hundreds and hundreds of people made that trek to the top in 30 plus degree conditions. So certainly very hot. Watching on, of course, was many of the elders from the area. They had turned up throughout the day and in the afternoon to watch the last of those climbers make that climb. We know that they've been campaigning for years to have it shut down, and it was a pretty special day in that sense too. It wasn't till very late in the afternoon that the last of those climbers came down. In fact, the sun was setting, the last of the daylight, and there was a bit of a jostle for who would be the last person to come off the rock, the last person to climb down off Uluru. But in the end, it was quite a special scene as a group of people, in fact, held hands and jumped off the last bit of that rock together. So quite a poignant moment, really, hand in hand as the people climbed off together. One of the people that climbed off last was Vincent. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
I thought it was important to get up there and appreciate Mother Nature for what she is. I'm more interested in sitting back, relaxing, viewing the world for what it is, taking it in and admiring what belongs to all of us.
A little bit of a controversial little statement there. So basically he's saying he doesn't... Well, you read between the lines there. He doesn't believe that this belongs to the traditional owners. the native, indigenous Aboriginals that live in the area and are considered the traditional custodians and owners, so to speak, even though nobody owns a rock, but traditional custodians of the landmark. And he's sort of saying that he believes it belongs to everyone, which, um, we've only been, Australia goes back to 1788, so I've only been there, less than 250 years, and the Aboriginals have had a continuous presence in Australia for 30,000 years plus. Some estimates are up to 60,000 years. So I think they got a bit more of a claim than us white fellows, as they call us. Also, it's worth noting, geologically speaking, I guess the Aboriginal or Indigenous people are like a little blip in time, because this is some of the oldest rocks in the world. Ayers Rock for Uluru was formed from because it used to be an underground, it used to be like an underground sea. So what happened was they've got like sediment, and the rocks push up. So when you see it from the top, I'll show you in a minute, but when you see it from the top, actually we'll do it now. Let's get my Safari up, and I will show you a aerial picture of Uluru. You can sort of see what I mean, because that's another thing that people sort of think it's oblong shaped, but it's actually we'll see here. So this is a picture from NASA, and one of the astronauts from the International Space Station took this. So you see the lines there, the strata lines there. So it's basically, that rock was like that, and it got pushed up like that, so to speak. So that's how it was formed geologically. I'm no geologist, but I sort of, I think it might have been at Uluru that I actually read that, but geologically speaking, that's, how you usually have strata, sediments going this way. Well, Uluru is actually pushed 90 degrees upwards. And another fact that not many people know about, that tourists, is that Uluru and what they call the Olgas are all one vast, because this is only like a small prominence. It's actually a vast rock formation that goes right underneath and goes all the way to the Olgas. And what I'll do is I'll show you my YouTube clip when I was there, and that will show you a little bit more of how vast this rock is actually. So we'll get back to the clip though. Come on, let's go back to the clip and we'll get back to here. So he's finished saying that he thinks it belongs to all of us, which,
But he didn't.
Yeah, because he was saying that he was going to sit back and enjoy it from a distance, sort of thing, but he didn't. He climbed it. So that's what David Campbell had an objection to.
Anyway, look, it was quite emotional at the base, wasn't it though, Gabby?
Yeah, David, it was certainly really emotional. We have to remember, for the Ununu, the traditional owners, this isn't a tourist attraction. Uluru isn't just a spectacle. This is their home. This is their backyard. This is the place they've been raised.
So you can sort of see how ununiform. Because I know when I was growing up, I sort of thought it sort of looked like this Kleenex box, is sort of like this shape, But it's not. It's sort of almost like a kidney type shape from the air, because that's all we used to see in books, was the front view. So it's a very unusual shaped rock, and you've got all these pits in it as well. It's so interesting being around it. Personally, I think it's best viewed like from here, like from the air, and also from a distance. Some people like to walk around it. I never walked around it because it was about 45 degrees when I was there, and it was just horrendous heat when I was there.
They know this region like the back of their hand. Their parents grew up here, their grandparents grew up here. And for the elders that turned up yesterday, some of them in wheelchairs with carers, some of them very old, this was a really emotional moment. They're calling this the most significant moment for these people since the handover back in 1985, which is when traditional owners once again took control of this region. There were certainly many tears, and a couple of the elders I spoke to in broken English, of course, said to me that this was an important day for their parents and grandparents who are no longer here. So certainly a very emotional time here for the elders and the young people also that had gathered, the next generation of traditional owners.
And just very quickly, Gabby, because, I mean, the traditional owners, they don't want people climbing the rock, but they still do want people to come there, don't they, and to admire it?
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you what, if the crowds here over the past few days are anything to go by, they are not going to struggle for tourists. There is really so much to do here. You don't need to climb the rock to enjoy this place. It is such a spectacle, whether you're walking around it, riding a bike around it, taking a Harley around it, a helicopter, or just standing on one of the platforms that we've got over the way there. There are so many ways to enjoy this place. It is so beautiful.
It is. It's a very powerful, powerful piece of rock there in the centre of Australia. We should respect it more. Great to see you, Gabby. We'll speak to you a little bit later on.
Yeah, so you can see the sediment there in the background. So quite an unusual spot that she's got. I don't think that's from the viewing platform. Could be wrong, but that's a little bit closer. Viewing platform's a fair way out. So what I'll do now is I'll show you my clip I have of when I went there in 2014. It's actually on my channel, but not many people watch it because it's one of the first videos I've ever put up. So let's go back to my Safari and we can get the YouTube up. And I've got it all lined up. We're ready to go. So I'll just play a little bit of this. And this is from my trip there in 2014, January 2014. So there's my quadcopter. Turn the music down a bit. So that's from the viewing platform. And as you can see, it's the most remarkable thing about it is, I'll just stop it there. The most remarkable thing is how it's not dead flat, but it's really, really quite flat. And you've just got this huge prominence of a rock that comes out of sort of nowhere, so to speak, you know. If you're driving along, and it's just unmistakable. And one of the other interesting things, it's almost in the sort of like the dead centre of Australia, really. It's fairly close to the Western Australian border, and I could probably go on Google Maps and show you that. I was looking up something else on Google Maps. I'll show you on Google Maps. There we go. Let's look up Uluru. Uluru on here. And you can sort of see exactly where it is. Uluru Tatajuka National Park there. So if you look at Uluru there and we'll zoom out, it's not too far from Western Australia. Relatively speaking, there's a Western Australian border over here and South Australia. Oh, little old Adelaide down here. So you sort of see it's almost in the dead centre of Australia. And a lot of the New Age people, I used to poo-poo the old New Age people and sort of think they're nuts. And they used to talk about the chakras of the earth. And having visited Uluru, one of the chakras is meant to be Uluru, and another chakra is meant to be in Bali. And coincidentally, it is the two places where I feel sort of like for a better word, spiritual connection. Definitely put on your bucket list. Go to Uluru. It's just something about it. There's something about Uluru that's really amazing. And also Bali. It's hard to put your finger on it. It's like you sort of get a sense of awe and peace and tranquility all in once. You sort of think Bali is so hectic, but there's something peaceful about Bali too. It's always got a positive vibe, so to speak. And scientifically speaking, it could could have something to do with string theory. Everything's got a vibrating strings, and that's one of the theories that essentially at a quantum level everything can be split up into strings, tiny little strings that are vibrating at certain frequency, and they give rise to particles. But it's subject for another video. So let's get back to my video I took at Uluru here, and I'll show you something really cool. So I'll just turn this down a little bit so I can speak over it a bit more. This was done on a Phantom GoPro, with GoPro with a DJI Phantom 1. So this was the first Phantom. It had no stabilization. And I'm turning around. There's my friend's car here. And I'm sort of lining up because I didn't even have like a video monitor. So I'm trying to line up, and you see on the left there, whoops, hang on. Better move myself, otherwise you won't be able to see it. You can see there on the left is the Olgas. Oh, I'm spinning around again. And you just get that sense of vastness. It's just an amazing place. I'm only around about 200 feet off the ground here, and sort of climbing a little bit. And you'll see on the right here, you'll see a bus coming along, and that'll give you a sense of scale of how big Uluru is. And there's the car park, of course. Don't think I can zoom in, can I? Might be able to. Don't want to mess this up. No, I don't think I can. You can see the bus coming along here, and that gives you a sense. The bus on the right hand side. That gives you a sense of how big Uluru is. It's just an amazing place. I'm so glad I went there. It's always been on my bucket list, you know, and being an Australian, you're almost compelled to go there. But I didn't feel a need to climb it. You know, I looked at it and I sort of felt, oh, it's a bit dangerous. And then you read the signs, you sort of think it's a bit disrespectful to be climbing it. I managed to go to Uluru because my friend, whose car you see there, she actually worked in the cultural centre, and so I got sort of like a bit more of an insight into the place. We went around to the traditional indigenous communities because she was always bringing back stray dogs from the indigenous communities. They used to go walkabout, and she'd pick them up and take them back to their owners. But one thing that she told me that I haven't been able to look online and verify was that she seems to think. Actually, I'll just turn this down a bit more. Put it muted. Oh, a little bit. She seems to think that the Aboriginal or Indigenous elders are buried actually in caves around Uluru there, and that's what makes it sacred as well. But I've looked everywhere online. I have not been able to verify it, so I don't know whether it's a secret I shouldn't even be saying, but there you go. Oh, we'll go back. I'll get off that anyway. We'll just go back to the actual picture there. But yeah, she was saying that they're buried in little caves. Let's see if I can. I'll go back. I'll see if I can. Can I do that? I'll reload it. That should do it. Just reload the page, and I'll just try and pinpoint where she said they were. Let's see. We'll get up in the air now. Now, just over. She was saying it's in a little section. Almost like I can't really point to it, can I? Because the mouse doesn't work. So it's not showing up on the actual screen there. But just look at the caves on the left-hand side there. That's where she's saying that the where the elders are buried, and it makes sense because you're not meant to take photos of certain aspects, certain places on Ayers Rock, and traditionally the Aboriginal people, the Indigenous people, believe that if you take photos of the deceased, that they can't really. It's like you're bringing them back from the spirit realm sort of thing. So that could explain why you're not meant to take photos of or film various parts of Ayers Rock or Uluru, and also why the viewing platforms where it is, because I think it's just around the bend there on the left that they're meant to have elders buried. So that would make sense that you shouldn't take photos there. But I have not seen any info online that verifies this. Oops. He's gone again. But yeah, anyone that's Indigenous, just tell me whether I should I be talking about it, and B, do you know whether my friend was correct? It's Cheryl. Hey Cheryl. Whether that is correct. That there you go. So you see the Olgas there on the left. The Olgas are spectacular. If you go to Uluru, go to the Olgas as well. It's about 80 kilometres, I think. You can go back to Google Maps here, and I can actually go directions, and we can go. It'll probably come up Olgas, will it? Yeah, Mount Olga. So there we go. So that's what we're looking at on the video. That I was spinning around from the Uluru, and you've got the Olgas here. It's 58 kilometres. So that's not too bad. 44 minutes. Definitely worth doing if you go see Uluru. Because I think that's part of the actual Tatajuka park entrance fee. So you can actually go to Uluru and the Olgas at the same time. So there we go, guys. It's sort of been running a little bit further than I thought, a little bit longer than I thought. Do you like the music? I put the music on because that music basically conveyed the feeling I got there. It was sort of mysterious but peaceful feeling you get when you're around Uluru. It's just it's an amazing place, as I said, and it's a lot greener than I thought. You see all these bushes here, all this greenery. Like down here in Adelaide, and when it's 45 degrees, you won't have any green. These bushes are like evergreen. Like it was horrendously hot. 45 degrees. I'm not too sure what that is in Fahrenheit. I could look it up. 45 C to Fahrenheit. It was horrendously hot. 113 degrees it was Fahrenheit, or 113 Fahrenheit. I don't think they say degrees Fahrenheit. Well, actually, it looks like they do. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that. I'll put a link to my Uluru video in the description as well, so you can have a good look at it. And I will see you next time. I hope you have a good day. And it's a quite historic landmark and occasion in Australia that they've closed off the climbing of Uluru. So anyone that wanted to climb Uluru, bad luck. But having said that, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You shouldn't be climbing Uluru anyway. It's one of those places when you're up close, you don't get a full perspective of it. It's good to go up to it and see how vast it is and how big it is and how high it is, and just driving to the base is quite a spectacular view as well. But it's best viewed, personally, it's best viewed from the air or from the viewing platform that is set up quite nicely there, which everyone takes their photos from. So definitely it's not a bad thing that they've closed it. Plus people are doing their business up there, and basically, it was when it rains, all the yucky bits go down into the what do they call, water holes down by the base, and the traditional owners actually swim in there. So have some respect. People don't realise that this is like it's not really it's a tourist attraction, but it's not meant to be treated as a tourist attraction. It's really somebody's home, so you treat it as such. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Cheers.